Good Voch Rabbi Sai. Live from the Italian Alps, Canazei, from my kosher hotel, from the very choshev. We have one of the world's most choshev mashgichim, Rav Novak. You know why he's choshev? Not only does he do a great job on the food, but he also gives us tremendous ideas to where to go and how to go. He drew up a hand map. Took him 20 minutes to do it. So we have a karza taiftim. So yishkoyach. Rabbi said we're gonna have to move on a very fast pace today because it is Erev Shabbos Kodesh, and people are going to be starting to come into Mincha here. Although I said it's Matzi Shabbos Good Voch, but you know what I mean. People might be coming in any minute and start making noise. So I just we'll do the sponsors. We'll jump right into it. The Masech is sponsored by Anonymous for the safe and speedy return of all the hostages. I'm sorry that I forgot to say the sponsors the other day. The two chaperones of mine, they are not doing their job. They're not holding. They are spacing out. That they're probably doing who knows what on their phones while the shir is going on. They're forgetting to tell me to do stuff. Says the Paras HaChodesh, Lili Nishmas Zechariah ben Moshe, Lili Nishmas Zechariah bas Yosef. Paras HaChodesh, the Refuat Shlema Neftali Herz ben Leah, a hidden side again our generation. Paras HaChodesh, Refuat hanefesh and Guf for Bina bat Miriam Baila Netanel Kalev ben or a Bracha bat Breina Bina. Paras HaShavol, the Schus Refuat Shlema shel Yisroel ben Shaindel fellow MDY, the one who brought me to the Daf. You should have a Shlema. Parnas Hayoim, Avram Meir Farkevitz, and Nishmas, my grandmother, Esther Bas, Rabbi Yehuda, Yikusiel, Esther Farkevitz, which we said the other day. Parnas Hayoim, Pinkhas Akilov, thank you very much for recording the siyum for Yuma. Rabbi Orlofsky is an amazing speaker. Remember that siyum by the Kaisel? Yeah. Thank you, Uncle Phil, for the amazing poem. You hear, Mark? Tell Uncle Phil, in case you didn't hear this. Thank you for giving me the ability to catch up on my own pace. I'm very grateful to the MDY team. Parnas Hayoim, on the second yard side. Yosef Rabbi said, here we are. Daf Amud Beis. You could put it on half speed. You might be able to understand it better. This is Amud Beis, 4 lines from the bottom. We were learning a whole story about if somebody lends money to somebody else, he takes from him collateral. He takes from him mashkin. What if he has to give back the mashkin at night or during the day, and the guy dies? He gives it back, so he dies when the mashkin is back in his possession. Do the inheritors have to give it back to the malva, to the lender? Says Rabbi Yechon Mishkan Meis, Shkartim Al Gabi. Video. Oh. That's a little bit of a blooper. I showed the blooper first. Okay. Let me show the other one then. Let's see. I hope it's not the blooper.
Good morning, Rabbi Sang. The flies have boire. Boys, here we have a beautiful sugi. It says like this, if I could find my spot here. Omar Rabbi Yochanan. Mishkanoi, when the lender, he receives collateral, he has to give it back to the borrower at night. The borrower dies. Says Rabbi Yochanan. He's allowed to and he's permitted to take it away from his sons. And the Gemara has to kasha meisveig.
Wow, the guy's fast. Anyway, so you saw the blooper before the actual video. It's supposed to be the opposite way, but give out. Meisveig. Omar Rabbi Meir. Ask Rabbi Meir a very interesting question that needs to be explained. If you're taking a mashkoin, the malva is taking a mashkoin, why does he have to give it back to the loiva? Lama machzirim, rachmana mahader. So these words, lama machzirim, we're going to try to fix you. What do you mean? The Torah says to give it back to the loiva every night when he needs it. Elo ma'achash machzirim. The Gemara's question is, if you're going to give it back, lama chayzirim mashkin. What do you gain by keep on taking it in the morning and giving it back at night? Taking it in the morning. That's not good collateral. If the guy wants, he'll take it from you. But what did you gain by getting it back every 2 minutes? Says Gemara, I gain a lot. You gain that Shemitah should not be meshamet. In other words, we know we do a principle today so that if you have a loan, you can get the loan back. But Shemitah comes along and wipes out all loans. As soon as you get collateral, then the loan flips into a pikadon, and there's no shmita. It doesn't wipe out the loan. So just for that, it's worth it. Even though I have to give it back to the loiva, it doesn't matter. Shmita won't take it away. Another thing is, we know that you cannot go and collect movable items from orphans, from the Yisrael. This, although it might be movable objects, however, since it's a mashkoin, it belongs to the lender and not to the Yisrael. Says Gemara, but we're trying to prove Rabbi Yochanan wrong. It seems like because he took it back from the loiva, he keeps on taking it back, then he could get it. Rabbi Yochanan says even if it's in the possession of the loiva and he dies, he can go and take it away from him. Over here, it seems not like that. Omer Bar Masna, but after Ritzikum, you had a problem with the lashon. It says, Omer Meir why do you give it back? Now it's a very strange lashon, as the Gemara explains. So once you're explaining that away, let's explain it differently. What is the Rameir's question is, what is the point of a mashkin? Not why do we give it back? The Torah says to give it back, but then what good is it? And on that the Gemara answers, and therefore we don't have a kasha on Rabbi Yochanan. Taisa just asks, if that's the case, that all the whole purpose of a mashkin is that Shemitah shouldn't come and wipe out the loan, or that the Yisraelim shouldn't hold on to it, you can take it away from the Yisraelim. So do it once, and you don't have to give it, you could give it back to him, take the mashkin, give it back to him for his pajamas, let him have it forever. That's all. And you accomplished, if Shemitah comes, you still get the loan, it's not wiped out. So it says, Tais is unbelievable. First of all, Tais says, we don't want the loiva to deny that there's a loan. So by the fact that you keep on taking the pajama from him, he won't be able to deny. Another thing says, he's mizbayish, you shame him. You constantly go to his house and pick up the PJs. So he remembers, and by the way, it's not so bad because we're talking about a person who's supposed to pay back already. The loan is over. I'm reminding the oilam. This is not a regular mashkin that you take at the time of the loan. This is a mashkin that you take after the loan is due. So he owes you money. So you keep on reminding him nicely by returning the pajamas, picking them up in the morning, etc. Zog Gemara. It says, do not come to the borrower's house. His house. There's another person that you could go to his house. Who's that? To take away the security. You could go into the guarantor's house. You took the clothing because you were a guarantor. It's something you didn't even know. So I want to do a public service announcement. It's a big mitzvah to be an Arav, but a person should be very, very careful and think about it many times before it becomes an Arav, especially in very large amounts of money. Be an Arav if you could afford to lose the money, because I know people that have lost literally millions of shekel in Arvus. They thought, big deal, I'll just sign a thing, and then the gemach comes to them, or the bank comes to them, and they have to pay. And you have to pay. So you have to be in a position. I have two friends, first of all, that lost money, but I have two friends. One is the friend of the guy that lost money, and he tells his kids like this, even though they're married. He says, listen, if anybody ever comes to you to be an Arav, you say, your father doesn't let. And they should speak to me, because I don't let you be an Arav. I know somebody that was really messed up for many, many years because he was an Arav. So it's a big mitzvah, and maybe people should find other mitzvahs. They should ask the Rav if this is the right thing to say. This is my feeling. Be careful.
It's not a mitzvah if you can't pay it.
Right.
One day.
Oh, right. You're helping out a friend to buy a house, to get a mortgage.
Not to put yourself in a bad situation.
Right. Yeah. Okay, exactly. So in the right time, the right place, and it's something just because I know that I was the Arav many times without thinking. Big deal, I'll sign here. There's another two people that signed. What are the chances you're going to come to me? The chances are very high. Right. And if you can't afford it and young and you don't have the money, you can't afford it, it could really mess you up. Says the Gemara. My son, if you became a guarantor to your friend, you stuck out your hand to a stranger. You were caught, different lotion of being caught with the words in your mouth, as you're going to see. You said something not nice to somebody. Do this to be safe. You came into the hand of your friend, he'll rule over you. In other words, if you are the guarantor, you have to pay. Vimlav, you're not a Arev, so what did happen? You bothered somebody, said something really nasty to somebody. So for that, Harbi Olav Rayim, you make sure that there's a lot of friends. You get friends that know him, and they could convince him that he should be moichel you, because you really don't want this to go on long with somebody having tightness on you and not being moichel you. And there's another point that we can learn here. You do not go into the house, and this is the point that we're trying to get to. You don't go into the house of the loiva. You could go into the house of, let me see if you can find it here. No, again, it's like, oh, here. It's a little bit better than before. You hired a guy to carry something for you on his shoulder, or there's another picture.
I hired him. He could go in and get it. He can go in and demand money.
Oh, so if you hired somebody to do something for you, Pundok, here in this hotel, my kosher hotel, the schar, you hired somebody to paint your house. But you could go in to get all this stuff.
They're allowed to come in and demand their payment.
You owe the painter money. He come to your house and take stuff from you. This is not a loan. This is you owe somebody, but not in a loan. I'll think, but what if I turn this into a loan? Here is a new concept. Zok from Bimilva. I hired you to paint my house. I don't have the money to pay you, so now I say, you know what? Let's flip it into a loan. Now I become a borrower. I borrowed money from you. I owe you $100. He should be able to go into the house. What does that mean? No, wrong pasuk. Mashas mu'uma means that any type of loan, any type of loan. So means I cannot, you the painter, before you were able to come to my house, but now since we turned it into a milva, into a loan, that's any type of loan. Even though it didn't start out as a loan, that's also something that you cannot go into my house and take your money. And interesting, because I wanted to tell the story to you guys, because we mentioned a certain person, and it's not the greatest story about myself, but I said this in the past, that somebody took stuff from my daughter, very valuable stuff, like a few $1,000s worth of stuff. So I decided to do din la'atzmi. And I went into a seminary dormitory when there's nobody there, with my daughter, another girl, and we videotaped the whole thing, and we found all her stuff, stolen goods, and we took it. The head of the seminary saw me on video, and he called me up. He knew me. We were good friends, and he said, listen, you do that one more time, I'm calling the cops on you. He's very upset at me. It's probably right. I probably wouldn't do that today, but the Shach does say that in such a case, when you see your stuff in somebody else's house, you are permitted to go in and take it. It's your stuff. You just go in and take it. Says the Heilige Mishnah. Almana, benchi aniyah, benchi ashir. It says in the Torah that you shouldn't take a. Thank you, Mark. You should. I love this guy. Mamish. He's switching back and forth. So yesterday, I'm on this chart for 10 minutes. I'm on 3 sugyas later, and still the same chart. He remembers. He's a pro from Chicago. Anyway, Mark's on there. So Yishkoich Mark, Yishkoich Avremi for doing it all the other nights. Now it's already Shabbos and Yisroel. So what are we doing with time? How much time?
6:45.
Okay. Good. So we'll finish in 15 minutes. But
Good.
Okay. So Torah says you shouldn't take a mashkin from an almana. What kind of almana? What are we talking about? Almana, benchi aniyah, benchi ashira. Whether she's very wealthy, you can't take a mashkin from her. Eme mashkin oisa. Shenemrali sachbo. You shouldn't take beged almana, the beged of an almana. And it's not. Everybody talks about it's not dafka beged. It means her car. Any item you cannot take from an almana. Some say goes as far as to say that perhaps it's not even talking about a widow. It's talking about any single woman, even a divorcee, even a woman who was never married, perhaps. Tanarabah. Almana benchi aniyah benchi ashira. Eme mashkin oisa. You can't take a mashkin from her. Divrei Yehuda. So this is a famous Gemara. We brought it down a few times in terms of Reb Shimon likes to understand the reasoning behind the mitzvah, and based on understanding the reason, he could extrapolate and say it doesn't apply to this in this case. And here's a few examples. You could take a mashkin from a wealthy woman. Why? The whole point is that if she's not wealthy, she needs her clothing for the night. She needs her plow for the day. So you're going to go back and forth to her house. You're going to pick up the clothing and you're going to deliver it to her at night. And you're going to do it over and over. People are going to talk about her. So she's single and there's this guy coming to her house every night and every morning. So people are going to say stuff. The Memra, the Refuat, the Darsh time of the Kra, Shimon Darsh time of the Kra. So you want to tell me that Refuat is the one that doesn't darshan the reasoning in the pasuk, and Rabbi Shimon does? And the Gemara is going to say yes. At the end, the Gemara is going to say yes, exactly. We learned the famous sugya, the exact opposite. That one. The Rayar says that a king should not take many women. What's many women? Rabbi Isai 18. He's allowed to have many women, but eventually you mysterious as long as they don't take his mind away from Hashem and talk him into bad stuff. Reb Shimon says Reb Shimon is not many women. It's even one. If she's Meisir his heart, he's not allowed to marry her. So why does it say that? That even if you have a wife as good as Abigail, who's the wife of who? And why do we take her as an example? Because she was one of the 7 Nevios. Very, very chashuv. Can't take her as your 19th wife if you're the king. Says the Gemara, no. In fact, it's like we thought. Rabbi Yehuda doesn't darshan reasons. Reb Shimon does. It's only here because it's something special. The Torah actually gives the reason. Don't take many wives because we don't want you to steer off the way. My time
Sure, relative ones, I think, don't like to understand mitzvahs, no?
Yeah. You're right. So it's interesting because over Pesach and the last few weeks, I've been discussing with the younger people that are struggling with certain mitzvahs and say, we don't understand. I said, why do you have to understand? No, we need time of the crow. So I said, no, but we don't really have reasons for everything. Yeah, but they start proving me from different Gemara. I said, Reb Shimon likes to darshan time of the crow, but it's even better if we don't darshan time of the crow and we just take mitzvahs for whatever Hashem says, whether we understand it or not. Yeah, but we want to understand it so that it'll be easier to do. I hear there's such a thing, but don't focus on it. Don't let it take you away from mitzvahs chiyuniyos, mitzvahs that you have to do when you don't understand. You have the chinuch, you go in there and he gives a lot of reasons and a lot of this. There's a lot of svarim, a lot of
cherishing.
We do have a lot of explanations, but it's not. I don't think it's the focus of Yiddishkeit to really understand every single mitzvah, why and when. It has to be that throughout Shas, you see Reb Shimon, Dorish time of the crow, and based on his reasons, he can say, well, it doesn't apply here and it doesn't apply here. I think it becomes a little dangerous, personally. You start saying, well, it was very hard to make a fire in the time of the Torah, but today we just go like this, we push a button and we can drive, so maybe we should drive, that sort of thing. No?
Yeah, it becomes subjective. If it's only based on reasoning, then it's subjective.
A Tana like Reb Shimon could
try to understand, to give it a chizuk. It shouldn't be the basis of why you do it.
Right, exactly. If it helps you and it gives you the simcha and this and that, give out.
Right.
But I'm saying not to focus on it and be submerged in it.
Not the reason to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Says Reb Shimon, I always dash in time of the crow. Over here, not. Why? All I need is the first part of the pasuk. Do not take many wives, and everybody will understand the reason. I'll tell you why. Because obviously they're dangerous. They're going to take one of them is going to steer you off the way. So because no, so what's pshat? Liyasur. Why is there the extra words? Afilu achas mysterious libai harizel yaser. It's not to tell you that you're allowed to go more than 18. It's to tell you that even one that's no good, you shouldn't marry her. Even if you only have one wife, no good. I'm not telling anybody here to get divorced or anything. I'm just saying one and then maybe makes the lave is no good. Says the Mishnah. What's this? It's not for me because I'm on mute. So interesting. Wow. So we have a number of things. I showed you already this depiction of a grinder, a mini one. We are talking about a mini one, but not that mini. That's a little exaggeration. It's for jokes. Here's a portable one that fits in somebody's counter at home, and it's built from two parts. The rechaim is on the bottom. The rechaim is on top, and you pour the kernels into the wheat into the hole on the top, and you turn the knob, that handle on top. You turn in a circle, and it grinds the wheat and makes it into flour. Here's a larger animal, a larger piece. This is not so much a countertop one versus this one. It's beautiful. Says the Mishnah, if you take the portable grinder as your collateral, you take it, you take it, you're over on a loisasa, and you're over on two separate kalim. Since the Torah doubles the lashon, doesn't just say rechaim. Varechev, and rechev is the top part, so you're over on two. But it doesn't necessarily mean dafke this kli. Elo kol davar shoysim b'yochel nefesh. What's a good example of yochel nefesh today? Microwave. Good. It might come out soon. What else is a good yochel nefesh kli? Maybe an oven, something like that. Shenemar ki nefesh u'chayvel. So you're over on another any kli in the world that you use for food, which sustains you, gives you sustenance. Barbecue. You're over a grill. Ki nefesh u'chayvel. Omer avon. Chava rechaim loikishtain. If you take the whole grinder, you're over on two. Mishum rechaim, mishum ki nefesh u'chayvel.
If you take just the rechaim,
I'm sorry. You're right. Just the rechaim. Let's start over. Chava rechaim, just the bottom part. Here, let me show this again. Just the rechaim, the bottom part. You're over on two. Because you're over on the rechaim part, but you're also over nefesh ki u'chayvel, the third person. Rechaim v'rechev. But if you take the top and the bottom, like a shalish, now you have three lavim. Mishum rechaim. Mishum rechav, that's two. Mishum nefesh ki u'chayvel, that's three. Rabbi Yehuda Amar, we have to remember these shittas. Rabbi Yehuda says no, you only over two. Ki nefesh u'chayvel might be a general lav, but we're not so sure. Rabbi Yehuda Amar chava rechaim. If you take just the bottom part, like achas one. V'rechev. If you take the top part, like achas. Rechaim v'rechev. If you take both of them, like a shtaim, get two. Ki nefesh u'chayvel. You don't get a third lav from ki nefesh u'chayvel. Why? Because I take this. Daf Amud Beis, sponsored by Kidnovations LLC. The schools that give simple Fega, and the woman who Adas Alana, who during childbirth had she got very sick, and Baruch Hashem she's out of the ICU, and she still needs a lot of tefillos and refuas. So the third pasuk is Shar Dvar Mudasa. Says the Gemara. Oh, give all again. No, I don't have to run far for this. Lema, here, check this out. Lema Abaye v'Rava beplukta the Rav Huna v'Rav Yehuda gemifli. So we have Rav Huna and Rav Yehuda on the bottom. Rav Huna is the one that says loikin. What time is it?
55.
Okay, so we have 20 minutes. Very good. Rav Huna is the one that says you get malchus on for the third pasuk ki nefesh u'chayvel, and Rav Yehuda is the one that says you don't get malchus on ki nefesh u'chayvel. That's the Rav Huna and Rav Yehuda. So says the Gemara. We're talking about Korban Pesach, yeah? Let's see. So now we have the three psukim. You cannot eat the Korban Pesach when it's not completely, when it's raw in raw state. No, it's raw when it's not completely roasted. And it says in the pasuk, you cannot eat it when it's cooked in water. And then the third pasuk in purple, ki im tzliyesh, is the same pasuk, 3 sentences. Ki im tzliyesh. It must be roasted. So, ochana, if you eat it raw, like a stein, get 2 malchus. What? Mishumna in red, umishum kintzli in purple. Mevushal, what if it's cooked well, but not raw, but it's cooked in water? Like a stein, get 2. Mishum mevushal, umishum kintzli for the green and the purple. And which reminds me, Rabbi Zai, crazy thing. I don't want to focus on this because it's a little sad. But Rabbi Yosef always used to tell people, I don't know if you know this, he used to tell people, if you go from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz for Pesach, that means you don't have emunah. I have a lot of emunah, but I'm married to my wife, and my wife loves going to Chutz La'aretz to her parents for Pesach. We got to talk to her about this. He says, why? Because that means you don't believe Mashiach is coming, and you're going to miss the mitzvah of Korban Pesach. He says, not only that, if you go from Yerushalayim, there are people who go from Yerushalayim up north to the hotel room. Also, you don't have. Okay, so there's a few kashas on it. What about other? What if you go to America Stam? You might miss other mitzvahs. Okay, fine. Oh, but we're kind of more mitzvahs. You go to America, you do a 2-day yontif over there. Even Israelis have to do. Okay, 2's darn. But it's not the same thing as Korban Pesach. You miss Korban Pesach, maybe you do, maybe get Pesach Sheni. Who knows? Says the Gemara like this.
Is this your expression?
Abaye Omarket.
Is it Pesach Sheni? This your expression?
I did it one time.
Yeah.
You know, I fell behind on my Shnai Mikra this week. It's always a bad thing.
But nobody.
I did until Shlishi twice, but I did the whole parsha once, and I don't remember.
Shlishi is Pesach Sheni. The aliyah of Shlishi is Pesach Sheni.
Okay, so I'll get to do it tonight.
It's okay. You
get a second chance.
Listen, it's all about the Yomi. You got to do. You keep on going. That's not for me. It's for other people. Abaye Omar, we don't have time here. Abaye Omar, ein loikim alav shebeklolos. Abaye says. No, I skipped.
Yeah.
Oh. No umevushal. What if it's raw? It's not completely cooked. Umevushal. It's cooked but not cooked. Now you get 3, like a shalosh. Mishum no, the top one in red. Umishum mevushal, the green. Umishum l'seflenokim fliyesh, the purple. The purple is very general, and you don't get malchus on a generalization, on a general. Let's see if I have this here. It has to be tzli'esh here. There's a rod that goes right through the animal from its mouth all the way through its end, and you roast it. There's a klal in Shas called lav shebeklolos. That's what we're talking about. Says Gemara, you see how they line up beautifully? Rava, who says you get malchus on kim tzli'esh, lines up with the Rav Huna, says that you get malchus kim nefesh u'chayvel, the other sugya. And Abai says you don't get malchus green. You don't get. It's like you don't get malchus on kinef shechayvel. Says Gemara, of course, the classic Gemara. No, it's not connected. Maybe they're saying completely different things. Maybe Lamasha, maybe Rabbi Yehuda, the Gemara understands is you don't get malchus on kinef shechayvel because it's very general. I don't see rechayim v'rechav, which is a very mefurat. It's a general. So Gemara no. Here, I just added this little arrow. Boom. A little bit better. Rava could say, I say even like Rav Yehuda, the arrow on an angle. Why? When it says I'm taking your soul by taking something, it doesn't say what machine, it doesn't say microwave, it doesn't say rechaim, it doesn't say anything. Why do you need kim tzli'esh? In other words, what we have to understand is the Gemara understands that once the Torah says you have to roast and you cannot cook, that covers all types of preparation of food. There is no other way to prepare food. Right. What other way? So I was thinking, what about today, a microwave? Microwave. What is that? Is that cooking or is that roasting? It might be a new...
Yeah, I'm not sure. Because it's waves. It's waves.
Waves.
Lots of waves.
So lots of waves. A lot of waves.
Hagal. Let's see if he follows all the way to the end of the shir. Okay. So says Gemara, so Mela, the whole tzli'esh is coming to say that there's a lot. But in other words, one has nothing to do with the other. Rava doesn't line up with Rabbi Yehuda. Abai could say, no, let me change the chart. Poof, the arrow goes in the other direction. Abai says, no, I could also like Rav Huna. I can like Rav Huna also. The pasuk in nefesh u'chayvel is completely extra. They say there's a lot. There's nothing extra about Zetov, it's great that you came the last minute of the shir. We care. Even the last minute is a beautiful thing. What's your name? Shalom Aleichem.
Yaakov Wolf.
Yaakov Wolf. Shalom Aleichem.
Listening to you in Hebrew a few months ago through Sam Kleiner.
Yes.
And I enjoyed it.
I just did the Hebrew shir. Now we're doing.
If you like the Hebrew, you should hear the English.
All right, Shkoyach, thanks for participating. Even 1 minute is more better. What's your first name? Wolf? What?
Yaakov.
Yaakov Wolf. Shalom Aleichem. Where do you live? We have nothing.
By the Gallon.
By the way, wow, beautiful.
Wrap it
Okay.
then.
Yeah. Zok the Gemara. What do we do with this Kim Fliyesh? We have a big chiddush here. It's not extra. The Mebayle ki the Sanyo b'shoshi yeshna mifkum achol tzoli yeshna mibal toichalna. That the only time you're over on eating the Korban Pesach raw is when it's the Lela Seder. B'shoshi yeshna mifkum achol tzoli yeshna mibal toichalna. If you eat it earlier than that, in other words, on Erev Pesach, you're not over. And Memela, Rabbi Isai, have a wonderful day. A good Voch, a good Yor, and we'll see you on Sunday. Be'ezer Hashem.
Yeah.